Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which while trying to break the 200 DMA at 1181, but we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here, APLD sympathy, all right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on cores? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options flow just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. There's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on Core Z. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ. It says Canadian 33 cents versus 19 cents last year. All right, that's another figure to look at. So 33 minus 19 divided by 19. Wow, so it's up 73% year over year. Trailing PE pretty low. I mean, no matter how you cut it, this is a easy buy here, meaning this thing's worth at least the 200 DMA. We're going above the 200 DMA. That's why I was buying below $10 and at $10 here at 200 DMA at 991. All right, but above that, it gets a little hard to predict because of the lack of guidance and because those numbers are on the lower end, those EPS numbers. So you can't just take 40%. So let me see what I could do here. Let me go to the weekly. Let's say right here is a decent area we can get to. All right, I'm gonna say 1175 or so. I see that resistance on the weekly. Is that right up here? Yeah. This area, 1180. Let me see what that would represent, by the way. 1180 minus roughly 9 divided by 9. About 31%. Wow, you're actually getting close to the magnitude of the beat. I might say that's possible. We could do it. We can maybe get that magnitude of the beat there and get about 1180. So Goose is going to be a top pick of the day. I was looking at TSSI earnings. So before the earnings report, I write down the analyst estimates for the quarter, for next quarter, for full year. TSSI didn't have analyst estimates, so I just went back and I had the press release pulled up of what they did last quarter. And then I'm able to actually make a decision on, how the stock is going to react before even the algos pick it up, right? Because I'm super fast. I got the Pro, I got the Benzinga Pro newsfeed over there, and I just look at the numbers, and within seconds, I was able to say TSSI is a blowout, and I was buying live on Discord at $9.50. All right, $9.50. My initial target was $11.50, but as things were progressing, I kept increasing my target. Ultimately, I had a target of $13 for last night, and it exceeded 13 early this morning, went to 15. I won't tell you what to do now. All of that is inside our daily note in the PDF that was sent early this morning, around 6:30 a.m. this morning. These are the two most obvious plays, right? Rocket Lab, competitor of SpaceX, ASTS, competitor of Starlink, which is part of SpaceX for now. It's supposed to be spun off, I believe, from SpaceX. So these are the two most obvious ones. We jumped on this Friday, right? Made some good money on call options on our Rocket Lab. ASTS calls didn't perform too well. It's a small open green candle on Friday. I know my buddy in the Discord swung the ASTS calls. Good for him. But in any case, these are still going to be in play, I think. I got levels in the PDF that I sent out for both. Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which while trying to break the 200 DMA at 1181, but we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here, APLD sympathy. All right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on cores? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options float just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. There's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on Core Z. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ. It says Canadian 33 cents versus 19 cents last year. All right, that's another figure to look at. So 33 minus 19 divided by 19. Wow, so it's up 73% year over year. Trailing PE pretty low. I mean, no matter how you cut it, this is a easy buy here, meaning this thing's worth at least the 200 DMA. We're going above the 200 DMA. That's why I was buying below $10 and at $10 here at 200 DMA at 991. All right, but above that, it gets a little hard to predict because of the lack of guidance and because those numbers are on the lower end, those EPS numbers, so you can't just take 40%. So let me see what I could do here. Let me go to the weekly. Let's say right here is a decent area we can get to. All right, I'm gonna say 1175 or so. I see that resistance on the weekly. Is that right up here? Yeah. This area 1180. Let me see what that would represent. By the way, 1180 minus roughly 9 divided by 9, about 31%. Wow, you're actually getting close to the magnitude of the beat. I might say that's possible. We could do it. We could maybe get that magnitude of the beat there and get about 1180. So Goose is going to be a top pick of the day. I was looking at TSSI earnings. So before the earnings report, I write down the analyst estimates for the quarter, for next quarter, for full year. TSSI didn't have analyst estimates, so I just went back and I had the press release pulled up of what they did last quarter. And then I'm able to actually make a decision on, how the stock is going to react before even the algos pick it up, right? Because I'm super fast. I got the Benzinga Pro newsfeed over there, and I just look at the numbers, and within seconds, I was able to say TSSI is a blowout, and I was buying live on Discord at $9.50. All right, $9.50. My initial target was $11.50, but as things were progressing, I kept increasing my target. Ultimately, I had a target of $13 for last night, and it exceeded 13 early this morning, went to 15. I won't tell you what to do now. All of that is inside our daily note in the PDF that was sent early this morning, around 6:30 a.m. this morning.
Here's the stat for the day. Just remember this. 2 rats can become 15,000 in 1 year.
Wow.
So with this product, by limiting the population, you can really reduce the economic losses.
So what's the opportunity here for investors?
Well, I think that there's many opportunities here, and there's many inflection points because now we have a product that is able to be used throughout distribution and retail and international distribution. So that's the number one. We were able to get an order from New York City in December that we'll be shipping out to them in April. New York City, we recently got an order from Baltimore. So we're starting to see some penetration into the municipal, the city, the governmental market. We have some really big pilot projects that are going on in some of the agricultural areas, poultry production, egg production, sugarcane and other row crop production, as well as grain management. We're able to get onto Amazon, and so you can buy our products on Amazon, Evolve Mouse, SenesTech, go there. We were able to get onto Walmart.com 60 days ago, roughly.
Oh, really?
Yes. So on Walmart.com, and just last week we were on TractorSupply.com, which is key for us in that ag sector. We think that will then lead into being able to get into the brick and mortar portion of that with Tractor Supply and Walmart. So we think long term that the retail part of that is going to be a big channel for us. This is now a global product. We have 10 exclusive distributors that are around the globe, places like Hong Kong and Singapore and the Netherlands. And we're starting to get orders there, and we're in discussions with about another 20 different international.
What are you most excited about? What's going to be your inflection here in the year 2025?
I'm excited about our international opportunities because we did a lot of legwork in 2024, getting the distributors set up, getting the product approved in those countries. I think we're going to continue to really grow our e-commerce business, being on all of the major e-tailers.
Other things that I saw that I'm pretty interested in, CORZ. I know Godfather's been all over this, but I like it. I'm going to give it an additional endorsement. From the way I look at things, I think he's probably looking mostly at valuation. I see a 4-pillar play here. I'm assuming he's right on the valuation. Now we have the technicals over the 200 DMA, which while trying to break the 200 DMA 1181, but we also have sentiment, a sympathy move with APLD here. APLD sympathy, all right, up in sympathy with APLD. Let's go back to that. Sorry. So we got the sentiment, which is that sympathy move. We have the technical break. We have the valuation. Do we have a catalyst? Did we have a catalyst on cores? Right, last couple of days. Well, we have the options that the Godfather found. Really bullish options flow just yesterday. So I like it. That's enough pillars. That's like at least 3 or 4 pillars here on Core Z. So I added CORZ this morning. All right, so I like that one. CORZ. These are the 2 most obvious plays, right? Rocket Lab, competitor of SpaceX, ASTS, competitor of Starlink, which is part of SpaceX for now. It's supposed to be spun off, I believe, from SpaceX. So these are the 2 most obvious ones. We jumped on this Friday, right? Made some good money on call options on Rocket Lab. ASTS calls didn't perform too well. It's a small open green candle on Friday. I know my buddy in the Discord swung the ASTS calls. Good for him. But in any case, these are still going to be in play, I think. I got levels in the PDF that I sent out for both.
Good morning. It's Wednesday, June 18th. Get ready for a big show. We're going to be right here with you right through 10:30 a.m., maybe a little bit later. It's going to be a busy morning for Rhett and I. We got to jump on a Benzinga show at 11 a.m., but we're going to be here free on X for the entire audience because we are going to lead after the pre-market prep and a little bit of live trading. We're going to lead right into the SenesTech interview. I see a question already coming from X. SenesTech, it's in all my counts, short-term, long-term, swing time frame. All right. We'll get more into SenesTech in just a bit. But I mean, there's just so much going on. And because we're doing this kind of free update for you guys today on X, we're going to actually go through the morning note that we put out there every morning. This morning came out at 6:15 a.m., which I think is precisely when ASTS came out with news. So it didn't make it into the official morning note, right? Like exactly on that 6:15, I sent it out, and then the Discord's like ASTS news. All right. So anyway, we'll talk about that. But yesterday we beat markets just slightly. Obviously, should have done better. I should have cut my losses earlier in IMRX, but we made great money. I made great money at INVZ, which was not in the morning note, was late breaking news, but it was in our VIP chat. Did pretty well yesterday. SenesTech did pretty well yesterday. I saw a bunch of people trading around the core with me on good prices there. Then my largest position, SPRO, had a great day. New closing high yesterday. That all added up to beating the SPY by just a little bit. Now year to date, up 211%. And if you're watching the show the other day, I made the point that when I have red days, you know, I'm only down 0.5%, 1%, something like that. But when I have green days, I'm up like 5, 6, 7%, right? And that's how you get to these 211% returns, all right? So we always start our macro note with a macro discussion right over here. Since we have a little bit of time, you know what? Let's read it. The world waits. The United States is above the skies in Iran, waiting for a final decision from President Trump as he meets with the head of Pakistan's military today. Meanwhile, the Wall Street Journal reports this morning that Israel has a plan for Iran's key underground Fordo nuclear facility and the ability to carry it out on its own. None of these developments, as I've been saying since last week, however they turn out, should have more than a fleeting impact on markets. The only thing that's a little bit different is oil, all right? Oil can have a more significant impact on markets, but even that will be short term, as I've been discussing. But in any case, what can move that? Early this morning, former Iranian economy minister Hamdouzi declared that starting tomorrow, all oil tankers and LNG shipments will need Tehran's approval to pass through the Strait of Hormuz. It is not clear, however, to me, if Hamdouzi speaks for the government, as he was named there as a former economy minister. But you know what? Maybe the primary economy minister was taken out and the former folks are stepping up. I have no idea what's going on there. All right. Now, I started off with that because everyone's, caring about that and looking at that. But it's really not so important. All this war stuff, like we're playing it for very short-term stuff. I have not made a single change in my long-term account. This war is not bearish at all for any kind of long-term situations. I'm not worried about that. All right. All of that's less important. The FOMC decision at 2 p.m. today. Rate cuts not expected, but as usual, the market will hang on to Powell's every word at the 2:30 p.m. presser. And a definitive direction is usually seen by 3 p.m. I would say more by 2:45 p.m. once the market digests the presser and concludes if he was dovish or hawkish. So everything really comes down to the sentiment interpretation of what's in Jerome Powell's head. And it has a very real impact on markets. But first, whoever's first, if you're first to identify the sentiment inflection, I don't always get it right, but I've had a pretty good track record, like listening to that presser. And in those moments, I'm waiting for that line. I'm like, this is it. This is the key line. And it usually happens in the Q&A, not the prepared remarks. All right. It's usually something in the Q&A. And I'm like, this answer is everything. The market's going to hang their hat on this, and this is going to define the direction. I usually get it right. Sometimes I've gotten it wrong, but I would say I have like an 80% accuracy rate in identifying the second that market sentiment is set. If you're able to identify that sentiment inflection during the Q&A, you can profit handsomely because most sensitive will be IWM and TLT, the most rate sensitive instruments around that. Man, TLT yesterday in our live stream, I think it was in the afternoon live stream, maybe it was in VIP chat. I said, you know what, TLT call options look good as a bet, moving into FOMC. And I'm like, maybe I'll buy them tomorrow. Well, I should have bought them last night. We're up like 0.3, 0.4% on TLT already. There was some economic data out this morning. To me, it looked not like, it was like mixed, I would say, either close to inline or mixed. I don't and has a big impact on the market. I think TLT initially went down on a little bit, but I don't think that's going to impact this TLT move. We've been seeing this move, anticipating. Did I talk about it here? No, down below. We'll talk about TLT a little bit more. So, all right. So usually whatever trend is set in the final hour carries over into the following day. However, markets are closed tomorrow for Juneteenth Day. Okay, which can make that a little bit different. And then you have this whole day that people are worried about where there could be geopolitical escalation or whatever. Now, again, I just said I don't care about that, but it could have a one-day impact. It could have a 4-hour impact or something on Friday, whatever, if the shit hits the fan on Thursday while markets are closed. So it'll be a little bit different. Very often, once the direction is defined at the FOMC, I'll ride call options, whether if we say, okay, it looks like Jerome Powell is going to be dovish, I'll ride like TLT, IWM call options into the next day. Or if it looks like, the sentiment is hawkish, then I might ride those TLT or IWM put options in the next day. But this time's a little bit different because of the day off. So that momentum is going to be missing, and you don't know what the hell is going to happen in the world Thursday, which could really impact the markets Friday. So it's a little bit different opportunity here today. Has to be played a little bit differently. All right. Nonetheless, not all that matters, but a big thing to look at here, and let me switch to the charts a little bit, is the 20 on the major indices, QQQ and SPY. All right. You can see it's going to be a problem if we close below the 20 DMA. So we got to keep track of that. Who knows? It's possible. You don't know what Jerome Powell's going to say. Maybe he says something the market doesn't like, and then we close below the 20 DMA. If that happens, I would raise money. I would go into risk management mode, capital preservation mode. Even though long term I'm still bullish above this 200 DMA, but we could drop down to test that 200 DMA. That's a very important level there, the 20 DMA. All right. So keep an eye on that. So because of all those uncertainties, we got a yellow alert on the macro signal, but green as usual. Very rarely do we go into like a yellow or red alert for stock picking, but we have done it before. We've successfully timed periods to not even stock pick and just kind of short the market. But right now we're still in green for stock picking. All right. Proximal catalyst. I'm not going to read through it all, but you can, if I guess upgrade, become a VIP, get this. All right. You can read through all these proximal catalysts on Israel, Iran, Trump, politics, all this kind of stuff here. All right. Let's just jump into individual stocks. We got the FOMC 2 p.m. Thursday markets are closed. We got all that. All right. Let's jump right into, there was actually not a lot of company specific catalysts that made it into the morning note here, but actually there are some late breaking stuff that I'm just going to type in that made it into our Discord chat. All right. So IMRX, which was here yesterday that we talked about. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? Let me grab the note from yesterday to get some of that language if I can find it. It was June 17th. So June 17th, you can see up here at 7% yesterday, but June 17th, IMRX. Oh, all I said is announces positive pancreatic cancer data. Okay, and looks forward to advancing. All right, let me take that. Okay, let me put that in so you guys have context a little bit here. So IMRX yesterday, okay, announced a positive, and I'm just gonna bold this, and we'll put this in red just to signify it's an addition to the morning note, which came out at 6:15. Yesterday announces positive pancreatic cancer data. All right. Subsequently, it had a very bad day, but then this morning they had multiple analyst upgrades or reiterations. All right. So IMRX in play. By the way, I listened to the conference call on IMRX, and it was awesome. I think it's down. They need money. Let me just let's go briefly. Oops, June 18th. Okay. All right. Let's just briefly look at this IMRX for a second. All right. What a crazy day yesterday. On good news, look what happened. Now, this happened before on good news on this day. All right. I don't know. I think it's Goldman Sachs. I think it's them. There's one analyst that's like, I don't want to say negative, but they're skeptical on this company. Well, all the others are really bullish. Maybe it was JP Morgan. It was one prominent analyst. You can see this morning, it's Mizuho raises from 8 to 10. Needham reiterates 9. Chardon reiterates 13. Okay. So lots of positive analyst coverage. I listened to the conference call yesterday, and I mean, this thing just seems great. The data is great, continues to be great for pancreatic cancer data. They want to move into phase 3. I haven't closely looked at the balance sheet, but someone on our Discord said, hey, they need to raise money. All right. That may be what's going on here. It may be that yesterday you had some hedge funds that were shorting, or institutions that were shorting because they were expecting, and maybe this will still happen. They were expecting, or they continue to expect, to be able to cover on an offering. All right. That's a very common dynamic you see on Good News. And you have a cover on an offering, and then you're off to the races. So I thought maybe that was what was going on yesterday. But looking at this price action this morning, there's some big bids here this morning, some large bids, 20, 30, 40,000 shares on the bid. Still pretty large. This is probably retail only, 2,000, 6,000 right at this moment. Maybe if I want to be optimistic here, I've seen it happen before. It's rare, but maybe these institutions thought they were going to get the gift of being able to cover an offering, and then IMRX comes around and they're like, you know what? We're not going to do that offering. We have something else cooking. Maybe, who knows? They'll get into a deal with Big Pharma, and they're going to fund them to the next, to do the phase 3. If something like that happens, oh my gosh, this thing is going to go to like $4 or $5 very fast. All right. So in any case, I did step back into IMRX this morning. My size is smaller. Honestly, this was the reason I was down 0.5% yesterday, even though I still outperformed the market, because I had pretty good size. I had good conviction. I listened to that conference call. I knew about the risk of an offering, but I'm like, this conference call is too good. This data is too good. Where they are about to start phase 3, too good. I'm not going to play games and, this capital structure games. And yesterday it was the mistake to do that. So today I'm in smaller size because I got burned a little bit yesterday. But got good entry. It was $1.89. Gave that alert to the Discord. Trading around the court, sold some at 207. Back in at 2 on that trade around the court. Alerted all that in the VIP chat. So IMRX in play. All right. So let's move on over to some other stuff over here. INVZ. Let's just talk about INVZ real quick. Got time. We're with you till 9:30, till 10. We're with you at 10. All right. So INVZ was actually, I think, my largest gain on the day as far as like a day trade goes. I think I made more money on SenesTech and Spyro with my swing positions, unrealized gains. But as far as day trade goes, gains go, INVZ was a big winner for me yesterday. This thing's just been, what is the name of that stock, Rhett? That LiDAR company. It's just slipping my mind. There's this
LAZR?
Not LAZR. There's another one. What's the name of it? That since it started exploding when Elon Musk and Trump had that little spat, all of a sudden it was all online that LiDAR is going to be in because, Trump is going to, give Elon Musk a problem. They're going to make LiDAR, required or something like this. I think it may have been even, who was it? A couple prominent people online were pushing that.
Lucid?
No. Someone knows the name of it. Put it in chat.
This morning on it.
I'm on recently viewed. Hold on, let me get a year-end catalyst list. 1 second. But anyway, so I've had my eye on INVX since then, thinking that there may be a play with the whole sector. Because this other one, which I gotta find the ticker symbol. Hold on. This other one just exploded. This LiDAR company. Nope, not ARBE. Did I not add it to this list? Oust. Okay. OUST just freaking exploded. I believe it's LiDAR. Yeah. Okay. It was OUST. So I've had my eye on INVZ since. And then yesterday morning, INVZ came out with news of a top 5 car manufacturer that's going to use their product. So made good money on that yesterday. And then following up with some less material news this morning, which is not even here, but it's in my other feed over at Benzinga. INVZ and Cogniteam partner to deliver advanced safety and security solutions. All right, so I don't care about that. All right, that's like a little product update. Yesterday was revenue. All right, so INVZ gapping up this morning, might continue to be in play today. Also, let's talk about apps, which, man, I should have played this again. I weighed fundamentals a little bit too much this morning. I love these kind of plays. All right. I love former runners that have good news, and it's not necessarily like, it can still be overvalued. It can still be a shit company. It doesn't matter. If you have a former runner that has some good news because it's highly shorted and it's been lagging the market, right? I nailed this one here. They had a good quarter they reported back in right here. Okay, so this one, we nailed this one after earnings. And then they did it again. They beat earnings again. So I had a feeling that this was going to be good, but I just didn't pull the trigger on it. I was watching it all day. I actually picked up a little bit towards the end of the day, even though it was new. And I think Rhett and I are on the same page on this, are just crazy. The technicals indicate after like 733 or 770 maybe.
Yeah, 770 is what I was getting yesterday, I believe.
After 770, this thing can jump to like $9 to $10 on a continued kind of squeeze here. 950 to 1150 even. Look at the 200 EMA, and you never know. This thing can like swing to 15. That's a declining 200-day moving average. There's some candle resistance right there around 15. So this thing might be a swing to 15 if they continue to have good news. And they had some good news this morning. Digital Turbine and Alcatel announced exclusive partnership in India. All right. So Alcatel launches its new range of smartphones in India. Oh, freaking piece of I got to control myself. I hate tech issues. All right. So, 1 second. Let's get you the news here. Okay. Alcatel launches this partnership with India. Okay. Where was it? Digital Turbine transforms how the user discovers. With this partnership, Alcatel can deliver customized user journeys and unlock new app discovery opportunities for their users. In any case, Alcatel is a huge name. I've heard of them before. And over here it says it's the leading French consumer tech brand, Alcatel. All right. So let me see if there's an About Alcatel section. Alcatel is a French tech brand established in 1898. Alcatel is a brand independently operated. Anyway, they're a big name. All right. Available in more than 160 countries. So they got some follow-through news here on apps, which even if you don't like the fundamentals, I don't think it matters. You got a big short position. Well, not as big as I thought. 7 million, but it's a former kind of like growth stock, meme stock that people look at that. They remember that. They look at the history and they're like, let's do it again. All right. So a possibility this thing runs to $9 to $10 apps. All right. ASTS, we didn't even talk about that yet, did we? My gosh. So much, right? Going back to the morning note here.
Yeah, there is a lot to cover today.
See, these are late additions. So I got the IMRX, I got the apps. All right, now the ASTS, and then we can get into the trade ideas that were published at 6 in the morning. But ASTS is next. So we are the ASTS folks, man. We nailed ASTS. ASTS, one of my largest positions. My pick of the year at Wolf Financial Spaces. We're winning that competition because of that. Also, we were the only people who called this gigantic move off of like $17 all the way to 30. We rode that, made a lot of money. And here, even though I called it, I kept it on my long-term account. Why didn't I trade it? I just didn't trade this. I kept it. All right. I kept it on my long-term account. That's good. And I predicted it for you guys. When this run started, I'm like, I think this is the run that can take it to new all-time highs and towards $50. $50 has always been my end-of-year price target. 50 plus has been my end-of-year price target on ASTS. I never wavered on that. And as this thing started moving on the catalyst of the Musk-Trump relationship that was rocky over there, that was just a catalyst. But there were many, many other catalysts building on ASTS in the prior 2 weeks, including the company. Do you remember that, right? It was like every day there was something going on, and the stock was responding not too much, just a little bit, right? And they had like the company update the day or 2 days prior to that relationship fraying, right? So I'm like, okay, this is now like the match that you need, right? It's just the match. The fuel was being spilled on ASTS for a couple weeks, and then that was the match. And I was like, that's it. This thing is going to be rocketing to 50, because my thesis was that while all that good news was coming out, the stock was going into strong hands. People understood the importance of that. The stock was going into strong hands. Now you throw this match on something that brings the rest of the universe on, and then you just don't have supply, and that's going to take it towards, and I looked at the RSI too. The weekly RSI was very low. That was the other thing. And that's why I made the prediction that we're going to head towards new all-time highs, and we did. And, not only that, 50 plus. Anyway, yesterday was the first day that this was not a top pick in our morning note. This was ASTS was a top pick most of the time, the number one pick of the day, almost every day on this run. And like an idiot, I didn't even play it, right? Except my long-term shares. And then yesterday, it was gone. It was not in my top 5 list, disappeared. And it was the first day I just called that right, that it didn't do well for the day. Today, it's back in the list, all right? I added it to the Discord, did a little tag and alerted everyone. The ASTS is a top pick for today. Again, didn't make it into the official PDF document, all right? They have an agreement with Vodafone India, all right? They already had a relationship with Vodafone, but now this is Vodafone India. India, huge market, all right? That's all you need to know, all right? Not only that, but probably yesterday there was probably a ton of shorts piling into this thing yesterday afternoon, as they saw this thing was going to close red. They're like, that's it. The top is in. Let me go all in on this short. And then you turn around with this Vodafone. When that happens, you can bounce right back and beat your previous high of 42.93. So top pick with a 42.93 challenge objective here for today. I'm not going to wait for that. I'm going to sell on the way up. I think I'm finally green on it this morning because it dipped after my initial purchase. I averaged down a little bit. I couldn't buy till 7 a.m. By the way, when this was alerted, the stock was only up 1%, and it went to up 4%. There was a 3% move there after it was alerted on our Discord, but you had to have either like Webull or IBKR to buy in the 4 to 7 a.m. session, which I don't have really. I have accounts there, but I don't really have money in them. So in any case, 42.93 in play on ASTS. Marvell is in play. I don't know Marvell well. I'm going to throw it up here towards the top of the list, but I just don't know it well. A ton of analyst upgrades this morning. Apparently, the company released all kinds of new stuff yesterday regarding AI, and the analysts are all excited about that. I will tell you from a technical perspective, you got this big juicy gap here. So 73.15, it's already broken that. And next target, this looks like a magnet, Marvell, 75.68 looks like a magnet. All right. But again, I don't know this company well. I could just have a small position because I can't have conviction if I don't really know what they do or anything. Right. Okay. But looking good for those two targets. Who knows? Maybe I'll get a bigger position at some point today. All right. Let's see. So going back to this morning note. All right. We got the SenesTech CEO interview. I'm going to talk more about that in just a second at 10 a.m. today. So you're going to stay tuned right here. We'll talk more about SenesTech. So other top picks here, AMD. We nailed that the other day, made hundreds of % on call options. That was part of the reason it was up 7% 2 days ago on AMD. Back into this top pick, added call options yesterday. The targets are right here, the resistance levels and the targets on that. SPRO hits another closing high yesterday. This is my largest position coming into the day. SPRO, another closing high yesterday, 319 to 350, imminent targets. Zim, I don't have it, suggested it could work as a war stock. It's been underperforming. And now with news that the Strait of Hormuz can have some closures, Zim could be in play today, not in it yet. TLT, we talked about this yesterday, also this morning. I think at the top of the show, I talked to you about that a little bit. Can have a good day. And then SenesTech. Okay, so let's do that SenesTech update, right? Winner for a community. Unbelievable. $1.30 to $3.70 off of the lows. SenesTech is a sponsor of our community. As such, we have great access to management. We interview the CEO very often. And this is one of those cases where the microcap CEO has been delivering and everything has been saying has been coming true. All right. We identified an inflection point catalyst on Friday, and this thing just took off. We were all over this in our community at $3. Friday, expanding the Baltimore pilot into a full-scale implementation. All right. 2 days prior to that, there was news about the largest order in company history. A lot of interesting things going on. on this $6.7 million market cap company. This is for rat control, and they are also in pilots in New York City and a number of other cities. New York City, obviously, the largest one and the largest opportunity. If New York City ever goes to full-scale production, you're talking about 10 million plus, I believe. Those are the numbers. All right. We'll try to get a little more color. You're talking about 10 million plus a year in revenue on this 6.7 million market cap company. So stay tuned. In just about 34 minutes, we'll be interviewing the CEO of SenesTech to get an update. And what we're going to do is try to quantify Baltimore going to full-scale implementation. We'll get an update on other municipalities. And we'll talk about that distribution agreement they had last Wednesday, I believe it was, to try to quantify that. And so that's your SenesTech update. Stay tuned. All right, so we got 926. Let's try to kind of organize these into the top picks right now. I just have gold, USO, TLT at the top, just for keep an eye on the macro. We got FOMC today. We got the war stuff going on, so I want to keep an eye on that. Got some gold call options into the day today and some gold common shares. All right, ASTS does what it does. Oftentimes, right at 9:30 a.m., it explodes. Now, I have a pretty large position in ASTS that I picked up this morning. So I'm just going to sell a few of them just to be a little responsible here. Scalp a little bit of a profit. Not be surprised. Very good chance this thing like rockets right to all-time new highs within the first minute or so. We've seen that kind of price action a lot with ASTS, all right? So ASTS, IMRX, apps, which you talked about, I think these are all looking good. So I think these will be in the top 5, all right? ASTS, IMRX, apps. Marvell, got to respect that price action there, but I just don't know it well enough, and I think I'm going to take profits on the rest of this. I don't think it's going to let me do it right now, is it? Let me see. That'll work. Ooh, got a nice exit. Wow, people love Marvell. All right, just sold at 73.91. Wow, look at that. Just left 50 cents on the table. All right, so wow, look at that. Oh my God. I wish I knew Marvell better, then I might be able to have more conviction in my own targets that I gave you. 75.68 being the next target. It might hit 75.68 in the opening minute there at the gap. Wow.
Yeah, we have a few questions here that we haven't answered yet. One of them is asking about cores.
I own it. I mean, it's slimmed down a little bit since the war started, just to, risk management. But at this point, it's a swing. I don't know of any proximal catalyst today, that's that can give me conviction that today it's going to go up. So I just hold it, and it's not in the top picks. Okay, so we're just waiting.
And someone's asking if there's any more room for drone stocks to go.
No, not today. I could, but we have other stuff today that I think better proximal catalysts. All right, so that's that. All right, let me see here. IMRX got back in at 199, and it's 206. So we got apps. Oh no, ASTS, IMRX, apps, Marvell. All right, top picks here for the day. SPRO, keep an eye on that, man. And then SenesTech and AMD to round it out. Zim is a top pick, but I didn't get into it. It's just these other things came up with more like specific catalysts to the companies, more company-specific catalysts. So I like those better than kind of this war sector bet. All right. Dan and Sharon, I have not looked at talk in a while. I don't have time to look at it right now. We're about to open. All right. So let's see. AMD dropping, man. That Marvell was crazy. All right. So let's see. There's where your eyes are. I got to focus on ASTS right at the open because that's where my largest position is at the moment. Intraday trading position on ASTS. All right. Let's see if we get that huge opening spike on this India or not. Keep an eye on IMRX also. Entered at 199. Not seeing that huge spike just yet on ASTS. If it drops, I might add more. I think I'm going to try to trade around the corner on IMRX because my last entry was 199. So
Gold's catching a bid this morning.
Okay, good. We're in gold, common, and calls. All right, so just sold some IMRX at 209 around the core. Here we go. Now we're starting to see that spike in ASTS. What was the all-time high again? 42.93. That's my objective. Here we go. Took a little bit of time. What those shorts thought, I don't know what they were thinking. They're like, maybe I get a chance to cover. Maybe some idiots don't know. All right. All right, here we go. There we go. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, as I said, I'm going to sell this on the way up. All right. I got a lot of shares. Oh, come on. It just dropped them. Let me wait for another green spike. IMRX is going. Apps looking good. Marvell, did Marvell hit the... Oh, Marvell almost hit the target of 75.68. Almost. Spyro looking. Spyro, keep an eye on Spyro for a convicted move above 3 today. I think that's in the cards. The price action on Spyro has been ridiculous lately. Okay, here we go on ASTS. All right. I keep having a brain freeze on the all-time 42.93. All right. 42.93. All right, I'm just selling a little chunks on the way up. I got a huge position this morning, like 28% of my account. So I got to sell on the way up. Can't take chances on that type of allocation.
Yeah, smart. Start trimming.
Look out on Spyro, guys.
Apps. I may look to add a few more of those calls I picked up yesterday. See how much they're at now.
I don't have huge conviction in apps, so I'm not going to have a big position.
Yeah, neither do I, but if this thing breaks, it goes.
Hold on, let me see how many shares of ASTS I have left. All right, now we're starting to cook on ASTS. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'm a 20% position. All right, I'm just going to sell a little bit more into this little spike. Now, I think there's a chance that this news can send it towards 50 plus. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Especially with how we're going right now. Look at this.
Yeah, I bet you Yosef bought call options are at the open. That's his MO. He takes my number one pick and he buys call options in like the first 10 seconds. And then like 50 seconds later, he makes like 1,000,000% or whatever and like calls it a day. Oh, I wish I could do what he does. Oh, I'm in a little bit of USO also from yesterday on the Strait of Hormuz stuff. I wish I got TLT calls yesterday. See, and that was the benefit of selling on the way up. In case that was the peak, or in case you want to buy back on a dip here. All right, so maybe I'll talk about Spyro for a second while things settle in.
Broke below that level again.
Ooh, you know what? Am I gonna get TLT options? I'm a little bit like, should have done it yesterday when I called it out. Really should have done it yesterday, but still,
yeah, that was in the afternoon when we were live trading.
Yeah, there's
still hasn't moved much yet. If you're gonna pick it up,
I know. 80, I'm gonna go Monday 86.50s, but I'm not picking up a lot. I'm not gonna pick up a lot. I got tiny position Monday 86.50s. All right, now what do I do? Do I buy back ASTS on this dip? I don't think I will. Maybe call options though. I don't know. ASTS. Let's see how much the calls are.
Just be careful right now.
Yeah, I don't want to go cautious. Crazy. I know. I agree with you.
Below that level today.
Because it's been up 10 days in a row. That's the reason I.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
You called it yesterday.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I'm good. I think it's because of this 10-day in a row move that I don't think I'm going to buy the dip. Not today. I saw a big position. Let me just see. Average cost basis today. I'm still in the green on my average cost basis. Took some profits, but I'm at 18%, which is pretty big. So because I'm at 18%, I just don't think I can add more.
I think you have to have the market cooperate with you a little bit.
Is the market down? I mean, I don't even care about the market.
It's down a little bit. So we're almost green.
All right, let's see. Oh, look at IMRX. Whoa, baby. Let me see what my IMRX position is. It's pretty small, only a 1% position now. Damn it. I might have to buy back higher. I'm going to buy back higher what I sold at 207 or whatever it was. I'm buying it back. I like this relative strength. I like the news yesterday. I like the news this morning. Let's look at a 30-minute chart. Let's get rid of night and extended. Oh, what a crazy chart, though. This is insane. You know, I really am thinking there's some credence to my thesis here.
With IMRX?
Yeah, that it was shorted yesterday in anticipation of an offering, and then the IMRX said, no, thank you. We're not working with you guys. We're working on a deal with some big pharma partner. I've seen something like that happen before. And when that happens, you get really explosive moves. So I just bought back some of the IMRX higher at 216. AMD not working yet today. I don't know what the catalyst was for TMC today. I noticed the early relative strength, but it can't be everywhere. Okay. I'm gonna scalp. I'm gonna do lots of scalp trades on IMRX today. So it's very liquid, tight spreads. It's great for scalping. You're gonna have to buy back higher. I'll do that throughout the day. So 215, 216. I got 5,000 shares. I'm selling half of them here at 220, just 4 cents a share profit. 221, I guess I got. No, it was 220 that I got. All right. That's a trade around the core, holding a core here. Man, I'm tempted to get Zim. I just can't be everywhere. Too much stuff. Man, look at TMC. Jeez, what the hell was TMC? If someone knows what the catalyst was on TMC, let me know. Someone's telling me insider buys on IMRX. All right, let me go check SEC.
Yeah, they posted it in the chat.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, by the time I get to the chat, I'll get to the SEC filings anyway. So, all right. So, view filings, insider transactions, Form 4, June 17th. 40,000 shares at 220. Oh, yeah, it was 220 yesterday. This was by the transactions are actually in multiple trades through a broker dealer price at 216 to 224. This was by who? Director Tom Schall. Amount owned following the report 43,000. Wow. So he only had 3,000 shares before the report. Now he has 44,000 shares. So 80, almost $100,000 purchase. Okay, I didn't catch that catalyst. That definitely is part of the reason as well. Okay, we got those TLT calls working right now. The gold calls are working. I wish I knew what the hell's going on with TMC. Oh, look at Marvell exceeds the target. 75.68 was the target. I'm not in it. Should have stayed in it. It's just I don't like trading stocks I don't know, so that's why. So 75.68 gap fill right there. You're in the gap, man. This thing can go to 83.15, right? 83.50. 83 is a 200 DMA, so let's just call it 83. Potential 83 target on Marvell. Anyone who knows Marvell well in our Discord or who's watching us, can you tell us, does that make sense fundamentally? No, we got these catalysts, but does 83 make sense as a rapid re-rating? Look at it go to 76. Oh, man, Rhett, because it's in the gap, I'm tempted to buy this in the gap, Rhett. I'm tempted to, oh my gosh, look at it go. It's in the gap. I'm going to start small, all right? I'm going to call options next week at the money, 76, 77, let's see. 240 by 249. All right, I'm gonna start small. Next week, 77 call options. I'm late, but it's in the gap now. So broke our 75.68 target. That gives you a target of 83, but I need some fundamental conviction on this. All right. Is it worth 83? Does it make sense for this catalyst to cause a re-rating to 83? Someone let me know what you think. If someone can tag the Godfather and ask him about that. I don't know if he knows Marvell. He knows everything, so probably he'll have an opinion on it. What did I do? I sold some IMRX at 220. Remember that?
Yep.
I'm going to buy back. I'm going to scalp this because it's liquid with tight spreads all day. Here we go. Back in at 214, I think. No, Fidelity slow. It's hung up. All right, 213. Got back in at 213. So we're waiting on a fundamental opinion on Marvell. Look at those TLT calls are working. I need to slim down ASTS. I have to, guys. I have to. It's just too large of a position right now after a huge run. I'm still in the green on my average, so I'm going to be selling. I'm selling a little bit more here. And I'm not sure I love this price action, right? Do you like it on ASTS?
Let me, hold on. I'm tweeting something right now.
All right, you tweet that. That's right. We got a SenesTech CEO interview. So I just sold a little bit more ASTS here. Still a big position for me, man. I went hog wild in pre-market on this thing. What's my latest position size? All right, I'm down to 15% now. A little more comfortable. 15% on ASTS is my allocation size right now. Oh, people buying SenesTech before our interview. So SenesTech, by the way, let's go through the technicals. SenesTech. All right, SenesTech, we got three. Oh, I was asking about the ASTS chart. I said I didn't love it. What do you think? I just reduced it 15%. But ASTS, I'm sorry, SNES, we have resistance at 386. Almost hit it yesterday, 382. It's pushing it again ahead of our interview. So 386. So let me read you what I put in the morning note because I think it was good analysis on SenesTech. Here it is. Okay, SenesTech. I said stay tuned for a 10 a.m. EST interview as we try and will move the stock as he has on previous shows. Move the stock. 386 to 4 is the resistance zone. If there's incrementally positive news on this interview, we could start to run towards 5. If we don't hear anything too exciting, we could correct back to 340 to 350. All right. So those are the levels on this.
All right, you got the thumbs up from the Godfather.
On Marvell?
Yeah.
All right. So maybe I'll add more of those call options.
I mean, I think we could go test.
So what is this? IMRX box scalp boom. Scalped IMRX boom. Someone said. It didn't boom yet. All right. Anyway, SenesTech, let's reviewing the chart wise. So as far as the interview goes today, incrementally positive news. We could break through this 386 to 4 resistance area, which you can see represented by these two candles. This candle, this candle. That's your resistance we're working with right now. And then we can head towards 5, depend if it's good news. If it's like, blah, not too excited, then you can have a pullback to 340 to 350 area. All right, so stay tuned. 10 a.m. coming up very soon. All right, so we're getting a thumbs up from Godfather on the fundamentals. So if the fundamentals is good, that validates this technical picture that's into the gap with an 83 target. Holy smokes. I may have to pick up more call options in that case. Okay, so MRVL, I only have a 0.2% position in these calls. All right, so let me take it to 0.4%. All right, taking this to 0.4%. This is $77 calls next week. I just doubled up and have a 0.4% allocation on those. Okay, and do we want to talk about SPRO? I can't. You know what? I'm going to leave that analysis for I actually put an analysis this morning for our VIPs in the Discord. So let's just leave it at that. You'll have to trust me if you want on SPRO or become a member over at Story Trading. At 9:45 a.m., we got 15 minutes. Let's look below the fold, see what's going on. INVZ again. Oh, I had a feeling. INVZ heading towards this level right here. 138 target on INVZ. That could happen today. 138 on INVZ. Oh my God, did MP go again? Rare earths in play again. I don't know what the catalyst was this morning, but look at this squeeze continuing.
Jeez, I guess I should have held my calls.
Yeah.
Oh my
Did I have any calls? I don't think so. I don't think I had an MP position. No, I don't. All right. So let's see if
I'm
this
not liking this early action STS.
CRML might come back. CRML with that news the other day could be doing some catch up. Look at this whole sector is booming. I don't know what the catalyst is. You're saying you don't like ASTS?
No, I'm not really liking it right now.
My position's pretty big. I'm still on the positive, so I'm going to sell a little bit more. Take my position allocation down, size down a little bit. You know what? I think I'm going to go CRML as a catch-up play on the rare earths. Looking like it's setting up nicely after that great news the other day. Okay, I'm in CRML at 288, I think, something like that. Just bought a market. But man, too bad we didn't stick with MP because I had a big target on MP. Let me see if it hit my target. I don't remember. It's somewhere documented what the short squeeze target was, but I don't think you have to. I think I have to go to the monthly chart to see it.
Let's see how much I sold all of those MP.
Oh yeah, it's right here. MP, it was, oh wow, it was 40 to 41 in play. Oh my gosh.
Ouch, this one hurts, Ben. Oh man, I sold all those MP calls for, let's go see.
Man, look at INVZ. Jeez.
Didn't make much.
So many opportunities, just can't be everywhere.
I think it was like around 140. They're at 330 right now.
SenesTech's right up against that. We got to throw SenesTech to the top because that interview is about to happen. So, yeah, man. I think I got. I'm just getting small amount of INVZ. I'm late. I'm at the high, but I made good money on it yesterday. So look at this ask over here. Oh my gosh, a lot of shares on the ask. But I'm gonna get a little bit because my target's 138, and my target's like very often hit, right? If you haven't noticed.
Yeah, I know.
So,
I got. It was just the whole market. I got shaken out.
Let's see if we get 138. Let's see if we get 138 on INVZ. 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 It's not a lot of room, but I'm putting a sell order near that 138 target. Let's see what happens. Okay.
I'll be right back. I gotta calm this dog down.
Okay. And here goes CRML's working on that catch-up play with MP. Yesterday's high was 295. You break 295, which we're on the cusp of doing right now. Maybe CRML can head back towards 350 after a very significant catalyst the other day that we covered in our community. If someone knows what the catalyst was in rare earths today, please put it in our Discord or in the YouTube chat or the X chat here.
All righty, I'm back.
That relative strength from IMRX. IMRX ridiculous. Like these price targets 8, 9, 13, 10. Oh, was another one? No, 10. Sorry. 9, 10, and 13. Yeah, I know the CEO was on CNBC yesterday, and I was watching it, and I actually bought the I bought MP at the beginning of the interview. I was a little bit late. We got a heads up from the Godfather that they were going to show up on CNBC, but I didn't like the interview, man. I think there might be another catalyst. I don't think it was an interview. I don't think he did a good job. I was not impressed. I mean, the only reason it would go up is to the extent to which nobody ever heard of MP. And it's like, oh, I'm hearing about MP for the very first time on the CNBC interview. Maybe it deserves to go up, but I would imagine people have heard about it. What was the incremental positive information on the MP? Nothing. The guy was so like negative. I mean, he was like basically warning investors over and over and over again that we only did it at very small scale. We need industry help. We need government help. And I was like, well, this doesn't sound like an incrementally positive news. I don't believe it was the interview that's moving this. I think something else happened, maybe at a macro level this morning, maybe something with Trump and executive orders, or, it's probably on X. I'm not on it because I'm on the show right now. So if someone can figure out why rare earths are pumping, let us know. All right. All right, so it looks like those. Oh, look at that. Rhett, should I be buying even more Marvell call options? I'm at 0.4%. That's a nice, healthy chart into the gap.
Yeah, it does look very compelling.
Ooh, I'm buying more. What's the short position on this? Why is it acting so good? All right, let's see.
Why did I just do that?
Not even a short position. That's the analysts just really love the update from the company.
3 days to cover.
Oh my gosh, look at these rare earths just exploding. Hopefully Carmel will make it up for us. App's not working today. Oh, you're kidding me. I did not keep AIOI overnight. Oh, shit. I did make money on it at the end of the day, but what a challenging chart. The first 3 days after that really good news, it went to like 20, then it sold off all the way to 15, and then basically the next day I counted my lucky stars that I was able to escape with a small profit. All right, and then look at this. That looked like inflection point news the other day. I don't know why the stock reacted like this for 2 days. So now it's finally starting to take off. I did not want to hold overnight. I'm trying to minimize my overnight holds right now. So I did not hold AOI after that news. Wow, what a move on AOI. All right, so we got that SenesTech update coming up in 7 minutes as the stock is playing with those resistance levels here, which again was new high. Yeah, new high. So beat 386, but this is a resistance zone we're in. 386 to 4. That's a resistance zone for SenesTech. So let's see if, as I said, if we hear incrementally positive news, we could make the next leg up towards 5. But we gotta wait. We gotta wait to see what he says. All right. CRML. There's more Velcro. SenesTech new high. Oh my gosh! Who the hell just bought? Woo! 13,000 shares. 410 by 439. 411 by 439 on SenesTech. Does somebody know something? I don't know. I have no idea what it's going to say. Maybe someone else. Oh my gosh. 411 by 439 on SenesTech. Wow. Whoa.
We're going to get picked up on scanners right now, Ben.
Someone else I told Supped Up about this. Did he start buying this or something? Or I mean, did he start posting about it? I have to trade around the core a little bit. I just sold a little at 436 in my trade account, keeping my long-term shares, of course, because this is a potential 5 to 10 bagger in my long-term account. But can you find out? This is almost halted. Limit up is at 438. Can you what? Oh my gosh. Damn, TMC, what the hell's going on with rare earths?
No, nothing. Wow.
IMRX looking really
That's
good.
really big size.
What's that?
Nothing. I was just looking at SenesTech.
I'm buying a little more IMRX here. Averaging up on this. What was that? That was 21,000 shares. Let me just check social media real quick. SNES. Nope, nothing posted. So, wow. That is nice. It's actually one of my largest positions overall. I have like several different accounts, short-term, long-term, corporate, personal. If you add it all up, I actually own 1.5% of the SenesTech shares. IMRX looking like it wants to explode, guys. Woo! Apparently, Coors is not doing well today. We have a comment. Is it holding the 20 DMA? It's barely holding the 20 DMA 1160. I have to be honest with you. If it closes below the 20 DMA, I have to sell. I don't care what the fundamental picture is like. I don't care what the targets are like, just from a risk management point of view. I'm not going to sell all of it, but I'll have to at least reduce by 20, 30%, maybe even 40% if we close below 20 DMA. So we got to watch that today. Oh my gosh, I'm loving IMRX right now. All right, 3-minute countdown. So go ahead, guys. This is a time to, you want to tag everyone in their Discord, right? Make sure they tune in. SenesTech interview about to start. Give them a 2-minute warning. Let's warn our social media. If you guys are watching on X, go ahead and just post that, retweet the stream. Let's get people watching this interview as we find out more. I'm tempted to go Zim. You know what? I'm going to take a little bit of Zim. It was in my morning note as a top pick of the day. Did Marvell just hit a new high? Marvell just hit a new high.
Oh, I'm making a tweet
That's
right now.
heading to the 83 target. Oh my gosh, what a freaking day. Damn. INVZ 138 target. Gold is on the move. We got the gold call options as well. Apps is the only one not working out. I'll have to sell that soon. AMD starting to work out. We got those call ups. Zim! Oh my gosh! Zim just exploded like 5 seconds after I bought it. Woo!
Really?
Yeah? I'm getting more.
Man, I didn't get into Zim.
I'm getting more. Oh, I'm too slow. Did something happen with the Strait of Hormuz? Because gold is popping too. So if they shut the Strait of Hormuz,
let's check
Zim
in.
should go.
QQ. No. Oh.
All right, let's get ready for SenesTech. Let's set up the interview. So this all started again with June 11th, right? So June 11th, let's pull that up. That's when our community started loading up because the largest ordering company history that there, June 11th. Then 2 days later, Friday, that the news, Baltimore pilot expected to expand to full-scale implementation. That's when we called inflection point. That's what we're waiting for. And we went hog wild, man. I like tripled my position. I told my family and friends to buy. Everyone I knew, I was like texting them like, inflection point in, guys. Let's buy SenesTech at $3. And here we are a few days later, up 33%. So, Rhett, hit the countdown music. We're going to start that SenesTech interview.
Good morning, Joel Fruendt from SenesTech. How are you doing this morning?
Great, Ben. How are you? Long time no hear.
I'm excited. As you can see, there's so much going on. This market is insane with all the geopolitical headlines, and your stock is insane. This is just beautiful. So excited to be talking to you today. It looks like there's been some significant catalysts at your company here. We have to start with this Baltimore PR that came out on Friday, because that's what a lot of people have been waiting for. And like I've been very explicit about it, and I think everyone, it's just obvious to everyone also who's been listening to and been tuning into all these interviews, that if we do get any municipality to progress from a pilot to full scale implementation, to me, I call that an inflection point for the company. All right. And an inflection point, not only from like a sentiment point of view that basically your product's validated, but also from a quantitative point of view that, you know, this accelerates your path to profitability. So let's start there. Are we wrong to consider this an inflection point moment for your company?
No, not at all. In fact, you're spot on. Being a regulated product by the EPA, we have to go through certain testing and getting the product approved. So you have to get the state approvals, and then once you get the state approvals, when you take like the municipal market, they all want to use it. So it's not uncommon for them to want to do a pilot project. So that's what Baltimore did, and they used the product Evolve. They had originally tried our original product, Contrapest, and then wanted a solid bait. So that's one of the great things about Evolve, being a solid bait, easier to handle, better shelf life, all those things. So they put that into play and watched it for about 8 months. And then they liked what they were seeing. And so they did an RFP for some pest control companies to bid on the actual implementation and the application of it out in the field. And so that's what recently happened. And so we've got the order in and shipping, and trying to lay out, okay, what does that look like for expansion in Baltimore going forward? So we're really excited about that.
So what does it look like?
Well, Baltimore is certainly a substantial American city, and one of the things that they wanted to do was not to be on the Orkin rattiest cities list. So they're trying to get off that list, and they've been doing what most municipalities have done for 50 years, and that's try to poison, to drown, to gas, and they deal with the death rate. And of course, what we do is we deal with the birth rate. And I always like to say this, and you're probably getting sick of me saying it, but 2 rats can become 15,000 in 1 year. That's why we have a place here in an integrated pest management program, because you just can't keep up with them. So what Baltimore has done is said, okay, we're going to start out in this section of the city, and we'll see where it expands. But certainly if they have good success, there's a lot of incentive there to keep it going across the city.
Okay. And what does a full scale, because the PR said expected to expand to full scale implementation, quantitatively, what's that mean for your company if it goes to full scale implementation? Well,
ultimately, it's if you start using it, it's very similar to New York. I think the last time we talked about, New York has 120,000 blocks in the city, and if you can get in a yearly usage pattern that each block uses $500 of product per block, that's a substantial amount. So Baltimore's not quite as large, but if you could get a large full city implementation, very substantial numbers.
Sorry, New York has 120,000 blocks, you're saying?
Yeah, according to ChatGPT, New York has 120,000 city blocks. And,
wow.
In New York right now, we'll want to talk about that as well, but they're doing, 30 of those blocks.
I mean, the numbers, they're like absurdly high when you throw out like 500 per block, 120,000 blocks, and compare it to your market cap of 7 million. I didn't want to say what the numbers are, but the numbers are so big that you got to imagine, if full scale implementation probably doesn't mean each and every single block, right? It probably means in the rat infested areas, right?
Yeah, and exactly. And of course, with our product, what we control fertility, right? So it's birth control. And so as the product starts working, and it'll start working within a month of consumption, and once that happens, then over the course of the next couple of months, you'll see your populations go down. And after 6 months, the populations will go down substantially. So the objective here is get the product out there, get it consumed by the rats, and then ultimately your populations will go down. You keep product out there, so then you're controlling your population.
So can we? I'd like to, because now that we have this sentiment inflection with the product validation, the next focus for investors on your company is going to be trying to pin down what a fair value for your company looks like. So if you don't mind, I'd like to quantify this a little bit more. When we talk about citywide implementations, like what percent of a city's blocks do you think would need this solution? Like what percent of, New York City or whatever, out of those 120,000 blocks are rat infested enough that, what would a full scale implementation look like? Like 10% of their blocks, 30% of their blocks, 5% of their blocks? Is there like an average number we can talk about across municipalities across the country so we can start doing math on this?
Well, initially, you would be talking about a substantial portion of the blocks, because as a radius city, there's not a problem in a certain area of the city. There's a problem across the citywide. But then what you'll see is that once you start doing the implementation, you do target the hot zones where you have the highest populations. Mm-hmm. And so we look at it as like, okay, if we can get 25% of those city blocks that are using the product, that's a substantial implementation of the product.
You're talking north of $10 million in the first year in New York City if they get a full scale.
Well, if you get full scale. So that's why we're going along. We're working very closely with them. We just had our first progress report in New York City, and very good news, 100% consumption of the product. Mm-hmm. And so we're moving forward and seeing how that consumption is in not only of course, they're doing it in West Harlem, and very impressed with the performance of the product so far. And that's really what they're measuring, is the consumption of the product.
Wow. That's fascinating. In New York City, are they also interested in getting rid of the rats in the subway, or is that like not even possible?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, yeah?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. What will happen here is that, you do the pilot project, you see what's happening in these certain areas. And then, as it said in their press release, is then we're going to target expansion into other areas. And certainly when you turn on the news and you hear and social media about the subway rats and the pizza rat, and there has to be a plan for that going forward, just because of the publicity that it gets because of the rat populations in the subway.
Oh, I've seen them. They're scary, and they're big in the subway. Yeah. So I know I want to talk about. There's a lot I want to talk about. Can I just jump? I got to jump to a question right here.
Sure.
With how things are going, are you yet in a position, or when do you think you'll be in a position to say, you know what, like we think we can get to profitability by X date? I think previously, I think you guys were targeting Q1 2026, if I'm not mistaken. You said you feel like you can get to that break-even level by Q1 2026. First of all, am I representing that correct in terms of your
Well, what our guidance said was that we believe we can get to profitability in 2026. Is it the first quarter? Is it the third quarter?
In 2026.
We're not pinpointing it that much at this point.
Okay.
However, the way
by
that
recent developments.
By recent developments, we think that we got to get to $6.5 to $7 million of revenue to get to cash flow break even, and we believe we can do that in 2026. We'll be watching how these trends are going on the municipal side, as well as our other sectors of our business that are starting to expand as well, and we'll have some more guidance on that.
But $6.5 to $7 million run rate is not very much compared to what could happen in Baltimore or New York City. And now we have this recent order from Bradley Caldwell, which we'll talk about in a second. So, I mean, am I wrong to kind of be excited about thinking about when he put all these pieces of the puzzle together? It seems to me you should be able to reach that run rate in revenue before 2026. Am I wrong about that?
Possibly? Well, certainly we have, as you call them, inflection points across a lot of our different channels in our vertical markets. And of course, the municipal market, as we see that starting to catch on in the large cities, once you start seeing acceleration on the usage of the product, that's certainly an inflection point where revenues could accelerate rapidly. And we see the same thing across some of our other markets and some of our channels that we're looking at, whether it be the retail space or in pest management, or then you start looking at this being a global problem, and we've really started to accelerate putting distributors into place on a global basis, and those would be substantial orders because they would be ordering container loads of the product at a time.
Right, but so am I wrong in saying that, hey, you're saying 2026, but I'm looking at all the stuff that's happening right now. Isn't there a decent chance it could be by 2025 and 2025?
There's certainly a great possibility that one of these channels in some of our vertical markets, that there could be the inflection points where the usage of the product would take off and could accelerate the revenues to that level much earlier than anticipated.
Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so sorry to put you in a corner there, but yes, that's
right.
Logically what makes sense. I want to make sure I'm not missing something. Like when you look at these press releases and what you're saying, that's what makes sense. Okay, so any other updates in terms of municipalities? We got a nice New York City update from you. We got the Baltimore update. What other cities are you doing pilot programs in, and any progress updates you want to give us on those?
Well, Chicago, we talked about that, and this is an interesting thing in how these things developed. And in New York City, it really developed kind of from the top down, right? You had we were there saying, hey, you need to use birth control as part of your programs for pest management, for rodent management, and it came from the city councilman sponsoring a bill saying we should do this contraceptive pilot. In Chicago, it really, we kind of got rejected at the top level saying, well, we're fine doing what we're doing right now, even though they were voted the rattiest city. You'd think that they would want to do something else. But it really came from then the communities and the neighborhoods and the people who said, I was at this Chamber of Commerce meeting, right? And the two questions asked, does anyone like rats? And actually out of the 28 people in the room, one lady raised her hand, she liked rats. And does anybody like poisons? And nobody raised their hands there. So that's when the discussion happened. And we started talking about you need to control the population. So use birth control. Then you can still use your other components of your pest management program. So right away, we started getting orders from the what they call special service areas. There's 55 of those in Chicago. They all have some sort of funding mechanism. And they started buying pallets of material. And not only were they deploying it, but they were then trying to get their residents to use it so they could come to the Chamber of Commerce storefront and actually pick up the product and start using it. Being a minimum risk product, it's safe for you, safe for people, animals, and the environment. So that came from the grassroots up, which we're really excited about, because this isn't somebody saying, oh, you have to do this. This is saying we want this product because we want to get poisons out of our neighborhoods and we want to get rid of the rats. And our product Evolve does both. And easy to use. The residents out there using it as well as being deployed. So what we're doing is we're in discussions with many of those other 55 special service areas to get them on the program. And in fact, we now have a number of them that have put it in their budget for the next fiscal year. So we're really excited about that, because that's an opportunity that doesn't come around often to get at the grassroots level.
Very nice. That sounds great. By the way, for the rest of our Discord members watching, just a little price alert. ASTS, that is a new high of the day. But okay, so that's Chicago. Any other cities just haven't seen good progress?
Well, we had some really good news around the Boston area. We have a couple of the communities there that are now actually putting the product out for an RFQ, a request for quote, and we've started shipping some of those areas, places like Somerville that have piloted the product last year. So once again, the legwork that we're doing last year is starting to pay off this year as we help them with the pilot programs. They have success, they start putting it into their programs. So the Boston area is a real hotbed for us in the number of the communities around the city. And then, of course, I mentioned last time San Francisco, so we're getting deeper into that with our partner there, PestTech.
That's a lot of stuff, man. So you know what? I have to ask these questions too. I know we got some other things to talk about, but as I talk to people about your stock and I get feedback from other investors, the questions have shifted. The early questions, in the last couple of quarters were about money and the typical concerns people have about microcaps. Oh, it's a microcap. They're going to dilute. They're probably so far from profitability. Now people aren't asking about that anymore. Now what people are asking about are, number one, can you scale to meet all the demand? And then also number two, I've been hearing more of this. Well, if this is such a good opportunity, you guys are making so much money, what's your IP protection or the competitive situation look like? So if you can address those two new concerns now that people are looking at the next level of your stock.
Yeah, absolutely. And was just at our plant in Phoenix. We just moved to a larger facility. We went from roughly 8,000 square feet to almost 30,000 square feet. We've got our line up and running. We've scaled it. Our manufacturing team has done some incredible work on getting the latest and greatest equipment to really scale this up. And so they have that set up. It's running. We're running more per day than we ever have. We've got a lot of room for expansion there. So we've got the additional equipment if needed that we have identified and the sources for that. So that's all going well. The way that we're scaled up right now is we can, with the equipment we have running just one shift a day, we can get to that $10 million revenue mark with the existing equipment. Of course, then we can put on additional shifts. We can purchase additional equipment. So that's all part of our capital plan that we have going forward.
Okay, and what about IP protection and competition?
Yeah, well, we have patent pendings for use patterns, right? So it's on the product and then for how it's used. And so, we believe that that's all good, but being the first to the marketplace, the speed to market, the brand, and getting out there and doing all these things is going to give us a significant advantage over anybody else who might try to get into this.
Are there any other competitors trying to compete with you in these cities right now?
No, not anybody that has a registered product, right? So that's the other thing, is this product has to be registered with the EPA, which is not a short process. Then you have to get approvals from the states. So, we've got all that behind us and gives us a significant advantage of anyone else who might try to jump in the marketplace.
Wow. All right. Sorry, I got to jump to another question. That just leads to what's the end game look like for your company here? Is it because this is imagine if you do go, there's no competition for now, you go full scale implementation, let's say in New York City, Boston, Baltimore, San Francisco, Chicago. I mean, you're talking about, I think, am I wrong? Tens of millions of dollars a year in revenue. I mean, is that something you guys feel like you want to manage and you want to grow into that? Ultimately, what's this look like? Are we getting bought out? Are you paying dividends? How's this work out?
Well, certainly our end game here. Well, it's not even end game. Our game is, first thing is we got to get to profitability. We're really focused on that. We got to scale up. We got to get to profitability. Once we get to profitability, we believe that we can really accelerate that. and that we can accelerate revenues, we can accelerate profitability. And we want to get this product and the company and the brand name to be one of the leading products that's used in the pest control industry for rodent control. And being able to do that will get us on scale and online as a top performer. And from there, we've got our eyes on our product development team on some other things that we can do. We get asked all the time about other animals, right, for population control. One of the recent shows I was at, Pest World, and we got asked, can you do this for wallabies? Can you do this for kangaroos? Can you do this for possums? So we have, we're not limited to just rats and mice, and that's an exciting thing about it as well.
Awesome. All right, sounds good. Let's talk about international opportunities, or any updates on that front.
Yeah, we are getting continue to get great interest on the international front. We just got some more good news on Australia, New Zealand, is that we think they're expecting the official approval in September now. We have a distributor that's set up. We've been talking to them about bringing containers of material in. We expect to have some news on that in the pretty near future. And of course, with New Zealand, they have their Project 2050, where they want to try to eradicate rats and mice by 2050. So perfect product to do this. As we've talked about it before, 100 rats are easier to control than 1,000. 1,000 are easier to control than 10,000. So our product has a place there. And really where it has a place too is that they're also concerned about the humane aspects of this, right? That there's no secondary impacts on birds and other animals that eat a rat that has poison in them. And with our product, all food additive ingredients, that's not the case. So we just signed up a new distributor in the UAE, which we're going to have some news that'll be coming on. We've got some good discussions going on a lot of the countries in South America, most recently in Ecuador. So one of the reasons South America is interested in it, it's a great product for agriculture, right? You can put this out where you don't want to use poisons such as the sugarcane fields, row crops, grain management, and looking at it from the fact that, okay, you're not having to deal with any of the effects of having poisons on board, and it'll do the job that you need it to do, and that's to really reduce the population. So you have less consumption and less contamination, thus less damage, thus not as much of an economic impact from rodents.
Can someone get options trading on this stock, please? I need some options. That's what I need. All right. So that's that. Let's talk about this news from last Wednesday. SenesTech announces Bradley Caldwell Inc. as new U.S. distributor for Evolve rodent fertility control products. Tucked away at the bottom of that press release was one line: BCI's initial order represents the largest distributor stocking order the company has received. Wow, that sounds like big news. Can you quantify that for us, or tell us anything else about this?
Yeah, I'll tell you just the little story about how it happened. Is so, Evolve is such a great product for farm and ranch stores, retailers, pet supply stores. And it's like, okay, how do you get there? How do you find them? So we, as most companies do, is we take our products and display them at trade shows. And at the National Hardware Show, there's this guy that came frantically walking very fast across the way, and he said, I just saw your product in the new innovation. They had an innovation area, and they allowed us to set up a little spray there. And it was from Bradley Caldwell, and said, this is the product we've been looking for. He said, there's not been any innovative news in the pest control industry, especially rodent control, in years. And we've been looking for something just like this. And we started to have discussion. They laid out, here's who we distribute to, mainly in the Northeast United States. But they have over 8,000 farm, ranch, hardware, pet supply dealers that they distribute products on a regular basis. So we had their discussions. They put in their initial stocking order. Now we're going to do training for all of their salespeople. as well as do some promotional work to get the product in the stores with some of our point of purchase displays and those things. So, the big thing is that we've seen, and it goes back to that grassroots thing, if we can get it out to the people that need it and want to use it, they continue to use it. We have seen that. And this is a great channel for us to get that out to not only the rural communities, but the communities in general that are around cities and in suburbs, so that we can get people that have the need to control rodent populations, the product in front of them. And so we're real excited about our partnership with Bradley Caldwell.
Very nice. Sounds like you guys are firing on all cylinders right now. Are you hiring people? Do you have the need to get more people on board, or are you handling everything okay with your staff?
No, we are. We're putting more salespeople on board. We just put another one on board this week, and we're really focused on, okay, where do we need to get the penetration and to get the people that are out there that can do the trainings and the pilot projects, because that's what we like to do. We like to be pretty hands-on and get out in the field and show them how it works, and do the results. Another great thing that happened is UC Irvine, California Irvine, just completed their 9-month study where they put Evolve out into 144 different bait stations, and they got 100% consumption up to about the 5th month, and then consumption started to go down. Well, that correlates with the fact that, okay, they didn't see any more juveniles on their cameras. So it shows that they start consuming the product, it gets to a point that then the population starts coming down. So you'll see less consumption. Of course, on cameras, you'll see less juveniles run around. And then ultimately, when you get into the 9th and 10th month, you'll see large reductions where we've shown that it's over 90% effective when used as part of an IPM program.
Amazing stuff. I have to ask, last thing before we close. By the way, I see a lot of comments and interest, like, can it be used in Canada? Is Canada interested? Can it be used for insects and mosquitoes? So people are getting excited. But I got to ask about New York one more. I want to dig into New York a little bit more. Based on what you're seeing so far, that positive early update, and based on your relationship with New York City and what you know about their bureaucracy and the red tape, et cetera, if this were to expand to, if we were to get a similar announcement that we saw with Baltimore, right? What would the timeline of that look like? Would it be a 2025 thing, or would it be a 2026 thing?
I think there's an opportunity for it to happen in 2025. They've already said that we're going to monitor this, and if we start to see good results, it may expand into there. So they left that open, that they could do that as quickly as they wanted to. And
I mean, does it need to be passed like in a budget? Like, what kind of red tape exists in New York City there? Is the funding already ready for that? Or is there like some red tape and bureaucracy that has to go through to do a bigger program?
Well, it's funny you mentioned mosquitoes, because my background, I came from 15 years with the largest mosquito control products producer. And what we always found was that if there's an issue that we can solve and it relates to public health, they find the funding for it. And I think that's what you'll see in New York, is that they have a certain amount. I think it's $600,000 that's laid out for this project to get it off the ground. And then they're going to expand it as needed. So I think they've identified where the funding source is. And the public health component of this is great. Rodents carry all kinds of different viruses, right? And so they're public health risk. And this is a public health issue as well. And so that's where, we feel strongly about that. We're helping support public health programs that relate to diseases that are vectored by rodents. And where there's issues with public health, usually you'll see that the funding follows.
Amazing update, Joel. Appreciate your time as we always do. I cannot wait to continue on this journey with you. Looking forward to great things. Thank you, Joel.
Thanks, Ben. Always a pleasure.
Take care.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, there you have it. SenesTech interview. By the way, a lot of other stuff going on as we were speaking. ASTS hits an all-time new high, so that's working out. Still got a position in that. I have to tell you, Rhett, I was buying SenesTech as he was speaking in my short-term and long-term account. Added more to my retirement account. If you look at the technicals now on this chart, based on the morning note that I had this morning, I think I'm going to stick to that. Like it broke the $4 resistance area, and after that, I think we're heading towards 5. You can see that here. 5 was the resistance. I see nothing between here and $5. What do you see, Rhett, on the technicals?
Yeah, I see. There's a big account too just posted. He said he really loves it over 450. So if this thing can get there, then
oh wow, which account was that?
I just put it on your on your WhatsApp. So you can check it out.
All right, cool. Oh yeah, I've seen that guy before. Yeah, I think this thing's heading to $5 at this point. That was an awesome interview. Beautiful, and I think ASTS looks like it's heading to $50. Obviously, always easy to say. I wish I kept my entire position, but you know it was pretty crazy at 28% this morning. So right now my AST position is 9.6%. I really slimmed it down on the way up, but I think I'm gonna keep that to see how the rest of the day plays out, because at this point I think you can probably see $50. So ASTS, SenesTech at the top of my list right now. We added some Zim, which is doing okay. Missed out on this AAOI. Oh my gosh. I wish I kept that another day. Carmel not working out. I may have to take a loss on that. INVZ got close to my 138 target. I think I was able to sell near there, near my target. Let me see if it went through or not. Yeah, okay. It was a small position, but I sold at 135 near the target. Marvell is working out. What a day. IMRX dip. Let me see. What was the last thing I did? I sold some at 225. I think I might buy that back here. I might buy back IMRX here. IMRX. I'm going to buy back what I sold right here. What's that?
Oh, and then some news came out too when you're on USO. I don't know if it came back yet, but it crashed.
I saw the price action. I sold my USO. I didn't have a big position. What happened? Was the news?
I think something with Trump. Someone said Trump said something. I don't know. I haven't looked at it yet.
Oh, okay. I don't know.
It came out and said something.
Let's see. ASTS, SenesTech, Zim. AOL looks good, but I don't have it. So let me just go IMRX. Carmel. Marvell is looking amazing. We'll throw that in the top 5 there. What else is down below the fold here? Spyro, not yet, but it's going to go. I got no doubt. And MP, man, we're on that so many days, but we missed it today. It's okay. Can't be everywhere. CAPR looking good. Godfather pick. Wow, what a day. Ooh, I think I bought Rocket Lab calls yesterday. Hold on. Rocket Lab. What? June 20th, 31. June 20th, 30. What? How come they're not? Oh, I bought the $30 calls for 44 cents yesterday. Okay, they're starting to move. And I got a decent position, 0.4% allocation. 49 by 65. All right, so Rocket Lab, my calls are starting to come into play here. $30 calls next week. Beautiful. All right. Everything's working today except CRML, which I think I'm just going to sell that for a loss. And apps also not working. I might just sell those two for a loss right now and stick with what's working. Anyway, we got to go because we got to get ready. We need a break. We're talking on the Benzinga show at 11 a.m. What are these comments? Hold on, let's check these comments. 50 today? Definitely possible, Shai. I have to be honest with you. Definitely possible. But 50 is my long-term target, though, 50 plus. Oh, oil inventories are out and less than forecasted. Okay, that's why oil dropped. All right. Anyway, we got to get going. Need a break. Let's see. How is my account doing today? Up, but not as much as I should be, to be honest with you. On a day like this, with all those good calls, I'm up 2.3%. 2.3% versus 0.6. So we're crushing markets. But all right, I gotta go, guys. We'll see
All
you in
right.
the Discord VIP chat. If you want to join us, head on over to storytrading.com, and you get this every single day, except just except instead of just once in a blue moon. Plus, you get our VIP chat where I'm interacting with people along with the Godfather pretty much 24/6. Take care, everyone.
All right. Take care.
Bye.